What's up, my Harley Riders? This is the Perpetuating Party of Patriots here, and yeah, we're gonna be doing yet again another commentary. And this one, it's been a while since we've done a commentary on something Sonic the Hedgehog related, so for this one, I decided why don't we do one? Well, this one is on a review of a game that I know a lot of people hate, but I personally really like, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I know, like I said, a lot of people really hate this game, but personally, I actually thought it was a pretty good one. I did think the story was alright, but the gameplay, in my opinion, was pretty spot on, if I'm being honest. And I did really like the level design, even if the levels did look kind of, I guess, colorless, but hey, if the stages are good, then the stages are good. Hell, I even made a top 10 list on them, but yeah, and the person we'll be responding to is someone who I actually think is a pretty good reviewer, and that is Frequenzy. And, yeah, personally, I was not a huge fan of his Shadow the Hedgehog review, mainly because I think it kind of played with some of the shit that a lot of other people, give Shadow the Hedgehog shit for, like the guns, which, on this part we'll be, really, digging deep into it, but, yeah, enough of the intro. Let's transition into the video.
I don't understand what happened. SA1, SA2, and Sonic Heroes all had, in my opinion, great gameplay, due to great controls and mechanics, and at a minimal, a decent camera. But that's not what I found in Shadow the Hedgehog, which doesn't make sense, since this game precedes the first three.
Okay, I know this is an incredibly minor thing again, like it's not a huge issue, but I think what he meant to say is it succeeds the past three because or yeah, it succeeds because preceding means coming before. So yeah, again, it's not a huge thing, but just thought I should probably point that out a bit.
Why fix something that's not broken? To begin with the flaws, the mechanics of this game can just be so frustrating. It's not necessarily that the controls are bad, even though Shadow's homing attack can mess you up, it's the mechanics of the game. Moving Shadow around feels like you're constantly skating on ice, which can seriously throw you off and make it difficult when you're trying to get through the level.
Okay, not a bad criticism, at least to me. Yeah, the controls in the game do feel a bit slippery at points, but and I understand this is different for some people, but for me, as I started playing a bit more, I did get used to the controls to the point to where, yeah, it's a bit slippery, but I learned how to control Shadow to the point to where it wouldn't mess me up. But again, that's just another personal thing, and again, I don't think this is a bad point, but I just wanted to specifically mention that.
The newest feature that probably most people saw at first was that now you can take out enemies with guns. Guns? Really? Why in the world would you need guns while playing?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's where the review starts to trail off. Oh boy, here we go.
If you're playing as Dr. Robotnik, then I guess I could understand. But seriously, when did the homing attack become boring?
What? I, are you assuming that they added guns into the game because for some reason they thought the homing attack was becoming boring? No, I don't think that's the reason why they added them. I think they added the guns to, add I guess a little bit of a new game mechanic to spice things up, but yeah, he does later talk about how he doesn't really think the guns are necessarily a good mechanic, but yeah, let's proceed.
The problem for me is, it's so abstract from what a Sonic game is.
Hold the fuck up. Let's play that small clip again.
It's so abstract from what a Sonic game is. It's so abstract from what a Sonic game is. It's so abstract from what a Sonic game is.
This is a huge point I see brought up by people, and it's, oh, the reason why the guns are so bad in this game is because guns haven't appeared in a Sonic game before. They don't belong in Sonic. Why are they here? Or some dumb shit like that, but, I have some evidence that shows that that argument's a load of horse crap. Here are some examples where guns have been in Sonic games before. Here's guns shown in Sonic Adventure 1 trying to take down Chaos. Here's the gun corporation trying to aim at Sonic to keep him there. And there's also the part in Sonic X where they have a bunch of guns, and let's not also forget that Omega in Sonic Heroes literally has guns built into his arms. Also, here's a pretty huge one. I don't think we should forget that the corporation there's a corporation in Sonic literally called Gun. So I don't see how guns being in Shadow the Hedgehog are suddenly this huge flaw that ruins the game or some shit like that. Now, if it does kind of disrupt you a bit from the atmosphere, then okay, but I'm just saying guns should be judged from a gameplay standpoint, not solely if they belong in Sonic or not. But yeah, let's continue.
This isn't Resident Evil, or Halo, or Counter-Strike, it's a Sonic game. No, you don't get to play as Sonic, but you know what I mean.
Yes, Frequency, this is a Sonic game. However, just because it is a Sonic game does not mean there's some, like, freaking firewall that says Sonic games are not allowed to have guns. This is just strictly forbidden or some shit like that. But, yeah, again, this is, I guess, another issue I have with this review as well. Not just this review, but also a lot of other Shadow the Hedgehog reviews is, some people, well, by some, I mean by a lot of people, again, bring up the guns like that somehow ruins the game. But, yeah, like I said, they should be judged by gameplay, by them as gameplay mechanics. But yeah, he does eventually talk about them, which yeah, let's actually transition into it.
Anyway, the gun element, in my opinion, is just pointless. Yes, you do need to use it sometimes in some of the levels, but for me, it's just not that fun.
Well, looks like we're treading on some familiar territory here. Yeah, in my Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots review response to video games, he says that certain level is impossible, yet he said it took an hour to beat him. But here, it's pretty much similar. He says that the guns are pointless, but directly follows that up by saying there are areas where you need to use them. That's literally the opposite of pointless. Pointless means you don't have to use them, or they aren't needed to complete anything. But yeah, he then follows up it being pointless as a reason for why it's pointless is that he doesn't find them that fun. But not necessarily finding something fun isn't necessarily in lead with something being pointless. But yeah, let's continue again.
There really isn't a targeting system. There kinda is, but not really. It can get annoying and frustrating trying to shoot down enemies who aren't right in front of you.
Now, there is one thing I would like to say about that whole thing. There is, like, I guess, a bit of a targeting system with stuff like the huge stuff like rocket launchers and stuff. Like, when you're targeting someone, there's like a huge circle that shows where you're about to shoot. So with stuff like that, there's a lock-on system. But personally, again, this is just my opinion, but honestly, the lock-on isn't really that, like, imprecise or something like that. And again, I guess to tread on familiar territory again, he is fairly easily gunning down the ship in Lethal Highway, so I don't see how it's necessarily the hugest issue. But anyway, moving on.
To add to the darkness of the game, not only Shadow, but other Sonic characters use swearing. Again, what's the point? It's completely unnecessary, and for me, kind of ruins the Sonic world in a disappointing way.
Whew. Yet again, another common point brought up by people to say why these parts kind of ruin the game a bit. He brings up the characters swearing, saying, oh, it disrupts the Sonic world in a pointless and disappointing way, and stuff like that. Now, this one, you might be interested by this, but, believe it or not, there are times where Sonic characters have cursed before. If you're curious what example I'm going to bring up, it's actually in the Japanese dub for Sonic X. For subtitles, there actually are examples of the characters cursing. Now, again, it is a kind of obscure thing, but swearing has been in Sonic before. Granted, not that often, but still, it exists. But yeah, again, I don't see why the character swearing is such a huge issue for you, but let's move on.
The voice acting was actually pretty good in some parts. However, the voice actress for Rouge was just blah. Stoic much? It seemed like she had virtually no emotion. Doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's still annoying. Nevertheless, I'd say the overall voice acting was pretty good.
Well, again, another part I could personally agree with. Yeah, personally in this game, I do think the voice acting is a bit hit or miss. Like, there are definitely some examples that I personally really like a Mike Pollock as Dr. Eggman. I think Jason Griffith does a pretty good job as Shadow, and surprisingly, Omega's voice actor in this game actually fits pretty well. And I guess Espio's voice actor did a decent job too, but again, there are examples where I did find the voice acting annoying, like for example, Rouge. She practically had no emotion whatsoever, and personally, I don't know why, but I personally never really liked Amy's voice actress and Sonic Answer in this era of Sonic, but yeah, that is just me. But anyway, not a bad point. I just thought I would give my own 2 cents as well, but yeah, let's move on.
The level designs were mostly disappointing. It was more jumping and platforming rather than speeding down a path. And when you did get to speed down a path, it would sometimes seem like enemies would pop out of nowhere and hurt you if you touched them. Shadow's supposed to be fast, but his speed is not demonstrated well in this game.
Well, this is, I guess, another commonly brought up point about this game, but not just about this game, but certain other Sonic games too. But, yeah, he does say that that the level design isn't necessarily, is disappointing, and the reason why he brought up was, it's more so based on platforming than speeding down a path, but, yeah, he did specifically mention, I think, in the earlier parts of the video where he says the game isn't necessarily how a Sonic game is supposed to play like, but, again, this is a completely subjective thing, but, Sonic is not just solely or mainly about speed. It's also about, platforming. Like, for example, what I'm going to bring up is the first Sonic game. Yes, there are stages that are based mostly centered around speed, but most of them are based around platforming, and most of the stages here are about platforming. But, yeah, even though there wasn't necessarily a whole lot of speed involved in these stages, I still thought they were pretty good, based on stuff like multiple pathways, and also just a pretty fun factor, honestly. Also, multiple pathways and the amount of options you could do to branch the storylines, but, yeah, another small thing I'd like to bring up, and this is another common thing brought up for us, basically, the whole trio from SA2 to this game, people will constantly bring up about the whole enemy dropping thing, but, there is one thing I would like to specifically mention. It's actually about, I guess, the general idea of Sonic stages. The way you're supposed to play the Sonic stages, well, I guess what they're basing the stages around, is playing the stages enough time to the point to where you can master them, and you'll know when stuff is coming and stuff like that. And that's what I like about Sonic stages. They're based around playing, mastering the stages and getting to the point to where you can master them. And I do think that is underrated, but also there are some times where I can actually see an enemy clearly dropping in, but it seems like some people are kind of blindsided by it a bit, and then when they get hit by the enemy, they're just like, why did that happen, or some stuff like that, but, yeah, personally, that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing, but, yeah, let's, continue. Oh, wait, I also should specifically mention, I don't know why I forgot this, but personally, the way I would say makes a good Sonic stage is a medium speed or momentum, platforming, and exploration, at least in my opinion, because I like exploring Sonic stages, and also I think Shadow the Hedgehog does a pretty good job with the exploration, as they are pretty big, but, yeah, I just want to specifically add that, but anyway, let's move on.
Alright, to be fair, I admit this game can be fun at points. It's not horrible. It is fun enough to keep playing the levels over again to see where the game takes you when you complete a different mode. Some might say that the game just has a steep learning curve. I don't really agree with this though. It feels like the game was rushed. I wish the developers paid more attention to fixing the flaws.
Okay. Now, this is just something I personally disagree with, but Honestly, I don't really get why he necessarily called this game rushed, because, again, I'm actually more on the side of people who say this game has a bit of a steep learning curve, because, like I said, it does take some time to get used to the controls, and, again, the gameplay didn't feel rushed, at least to me. It didn't, like, the controls outside of the slipperiness, they controlled and played fine to me, but, yeah, I don't think there's anything I actually want to respond to next, but anyway, I think this is probably where I'm going to end the video, but, yeah, see you guys in the next commentary, or whatever video I'll make next.